10 creatures to avoid being bitten. Of course, no one wants to be bitten by a crocodile or a shark. But what about smaller animals? There are creatures we would never think of as potentially dangerous. Quite frankly, no one wants to be bitten by anyone at all, but some of the catfish are worse than others. 10 of the creatures on our list can bite a person, but that's the last thing you'd ever want. Forget big cats, giant fish with razor-sharp teeth, and anything that hides under your bed at night. Make sure none of it can ever bite you. Domestic cats. A dog can mutilate a person, so most people are wary when they cross paths with an aggressive dog. Cats, on the other hand, don't seem like much of a threat unless they are one of the larger members of the family. Domestic cats are small, and their claws pose a greater danger than their mighty but tiny jaws. When a house cat bites you, it does little harm. Its sharp teeth certainly won't give you the pleasure of touching your skin, but in most cases you won't be left with a terrible wound. The real problem resulting from a bite is the bacteria in her mouth. All animals have bacteria in their saliva, and cats are no exception. Their bites almost always cause infection in humans. One such disease is caused by the Proteobacterium Bartonella henselae. If it enters the bloodstream, you have a very high chance of contracting cat scratch disease. There are an average of about 22,000 cases each year in the United States, and they almost always come from kittens. Cats are also carriers of Pasteurella multicida, which can become dangerous if left untreated. Brazilian wandering spiders. Most people avoid spiders like the plague because arachnophobia is incredibly common. Nevertheless, there are spiders in the world, and there is no escaping them. And from time to time a person has to deal with them. Most of the time, these insects prefer to avoid humans, but they will bite you if they feel threatened. Most spider bites are just as painful as other insect bites, but not all. The most dangerous spider bite in the world is that of the Brazilian wandering spider. These are aggressive and very poisonous insects that live in Brazil and other parts of Central and South America. If they feel threatened, they will bite you. In doing so, they can vary the amount of venom injected. Regardless of the degree of poisoning, the bite of the Brazilian traveling spider is very painful. Its fangs dig deep into your flesh, causing an intense burning pain in the area. You will then experience sweating and goosebumps on your skin. After 30 minutes, you may experience changes in blood pressure, nausea, abdominal cramps, hypothermia, blurred vision, and symptoms resembling shock. In some cases, men will have prolonged painful erections. The most serious bites can be fatal if left untreated, but these spiders rarely inject enough venom to do so. Instead, they leave some for later and reward you with an excruciating bite that you won't soon forget. Monkeys. Although people in the West are not too concerned about being bitten by a monkey anytime soon, primates are quite common in South America and Asia. Monkeys are a problem in densely populated areas, including Brazil, India, and Indonesia, so there are more people at risk of being bitten than you might think. For their size, monkeys are strong, so you don't want to be attacked by one of them. Their primary means of attack is a bite, and most species have powerful jaws with sharp teeth. A monkey's bite will cause tissue damage, but the most serious threat comes from the bacteria and viral pathogens that have settled in its mouth as a home. Like most mammals, monkeys can carry and transmit rabies, which will 100% end in death if left untreated. Symptoms include hallucinations and partial paralysis, so it's no picnic. However, it is not necessarily the greatest threat, as the disease is treatable. Monkeys can contract monkey herpes through a bite. It can lead to encephalomyelitis, which leads to inflammation of the brain. It is also accompanied by paralysis, vision loss, and vomiting. The dangers are real, so if you are ever bitten by a monkey, seek medical attention immediately. Rattlesnakes. The bite of any snake will be an unforgettable experience in most people's lives. After all, snakes have 2 long hypodermic needles capable of injecting large amounts of venom. Sure, the fangs are quite unpleasant, but the real pain comes from the venom, and it can be brutal. In addition to the potentially lethal types of venom, there are those that cause serious tissue damage and pain. The most dangerous is the secretion of rattlesnakes, which inject venom, with one of the highest levels of toxicity found of any snake in the Western Hemisphere. When the venom is injected, it affects your tissues and blood immediately. It is hemotoxic, so it causes coagulopathy and necrosis. Essentially, no matter where you are bitten, your tissue begins to die off while it is still a part of you, and your blood forgets how to clot properly. You can die from a rattlesnake bite if it hits a particularly dangerous spot, such as the jugular vein, but most bites are not fatal. An antidote exists, and if administered within 6 to 48 hours of poisoning, you and your tissues will be safe. However, severe pain is only one of the many gifts a rattlesnake is willing to give its victims. People, yes, people, not zombies, are some of the most dangerous creatures that can bite you. Of course, this does not mean that a child biting another on the playground is necessarily dangerous, well, unless it hurts your skin. However, a human bite can be life-threatening for several reasons. Humans have about 700 species of bacteria in their mouths. Although they float safely in our saliva, they can cause blood flow problems. Other animals transmit various diseases, but not everything carried by an animal can infect a person. The problem when one person bites another is that any disease the biter carries can infect the victim. This includes everything from rabies and tetanus to hepatitis and HIV. In addition, you are also likely to have an infection spreading from the bite site. On the one hand, a human bite can cause deadly disease and infection. However, on the other hand, it's not the biggest threat. After all, there aren't that many people running around to bite their own kind. However, if you somehow end up on another person's menu, you should seek medical attention immediately. A mosquito bites with a highly specialized 6-part mouth. You might think they just stick their proboscis into your skin and start sucking blood, but they only do so after their lower and upper jaws pierce your skin. In a sense, they are biting you, although you will never feel it. Mosquito bites are not often noticed by the victim in the process, so it is usually too late to stop them when you have seen the bloodsucker. Despite their ability to mask the pain from their victim, the bite itself is not the greatest threat these little bloodsuckers bring. Mosquitoes are often called the most dangerous animals in the world, and it's a well-deserved title. They are prolific vectors capable of transmitting many diseases, including dengue fever, chikungunya, yellow fever, Zika virus, West Nile virus, Japanese encephalitis, and malaria. Ultimately, malaria is the most dangerous to humans, as it kills about 400,000 people each year. Mosquitoes kill more people than any other animal, including ourselves. So those itchy blisters are not just a minor irritation. In many parts of the world, it is a constant and deadly threat.